Starting out this project, I needed to scuff up this Warthog just a little bit. It was looking a little too clean for my liking to absolutely do an overhaul, so I took my Dremel and just a normal drill bit and started kind of roughing up everywhere on the actual body itself. I thought this gave a really nice worn down in-use texture that I would definitely think would happen to a lot of Warthogs in the Covenant War and also fighting the Flood, so it was something I needed to do. After that, I mixed up some green stuff that was going to be applied onto the actual hog itself. And I started applying some onto figures. I wanted to make these figures actually stand out as well instead of just being normal Flood Marines, so I did a lot of custom work on them, but overall I think they turned out absolutely fantastic. Ripping off his leg and putting a little bit of green stuff down there to simulate that his leg got blown off in battle I thought was a really cool touch, and also adding small patches of green stuff for more flood infected areas really gave this Marine kind of its body and shape and made him look really good in the end. So I took some green stuff and placed it down because the green stuff wasn't sticking to the actual figure itself, and I started to form the heart. I added little veins around the heart as well as a rib cage that I made with 3 little pieces of green stuff. Twisted his head to where I thought it would look appropriate. Didn't want him to have just a normal facing head. I wanted to add a little bit of a creepy effect to it, so I kind of made it look like it was snapped and twisted. Adding a little bit more detail around. I wanted the bumper to look sideways and not straight, so I added some green stuff in the back, and later I had to super glue that on when the green stuff dried. I took an old Mega Bloks figure and I was going to use him for the Marine cockpit. I didn't want to use an actual Mega Construx figure, and this one I've already used before to make him a Flood custom, so it worked perfectly. Stuck them in there, and then I started taking small worm-like pieces of green stuff and attaching them to various different areas of the actual vehicle itself. This gave it that really nice flood textured look, and I just wanted to make it feel like it was being overrun with actual flood biomass, and I think I accomplished that in the very end. Placed on other areas of green stuff and picked at it with my toothpick. I also made it look like the flood was growing out of that area too, almost like it was expanding around the actual Warthog itself. Did this in a lot of different places. I just felt like it needed a lot of weird texture for it to really look like a Flood Warthog. Now, I wanted to use a Jackal head, and I saw this kind of on Discord, so whoever posted that in the Gravemind chat, congrats to you. Basically, I just ripped off half of his mouth and then put it back on, and then I also attached more worm-like pieces of green stuff to other areas on the actual Warthog itself. Once the Jackal head was done, I placed it right into its spot where it was going to lay for the rest of its life. I started with painting. Just did a overall base coat along all of the green stuff here to start out, and then I went on to different shades of paint later on. This is a really tedious and mind-numbing process, so plug in your headphones if you do decide to do this and just take your time with it, because you don't want to get the paint everywhere on the Warthog. You still want to have a little bit of that Warthog color to the actual Warthog itself. I also painted up my figures. A dry brush as well. Just wanted to change up the shades and the color of the actual Warthog itself and not keep it all the same. Also did a dry brush on the figures. Then I had to make his leg look, well, like it was blown off, so I added some blood onto his leg and the area around where the leg would have blown off. I don't know, if you blow off a leg in real life, it would be pretty messy, so I try to kind of imitate that. Painted on a few little details onto the back of the Marine where the flood tendrils are coming out, and then for the driver I painted his heart that was still inside of his chest. I also made the ribs that I made white. Very lightly going around the Warthog, adding a dry brush, and just giving it a different kind of color shade tone to it. I also highlighted some areas with more of a deeper red to add more life to it. All these little details that you do really do add up in the very end to making a really good product. Add some red dry brushes onto the figures themselves. And I also added some silver dry brushing to the whole Warthog as well. Making it look a little bit more worn was important to me since it's been through a lot, obviously. I thought it would just be a nice little touch to add. Once that's done, I use some Liquitex gel and some paint. I wanted to give it more of a chunky kind of look, so I also wanted to add some onto the tires, and I thought this turned out absolutely fantastic. Doing this really gave it that look that it's kind of been in a flood base or it's been in an infected flood area and it's just driving around on biomass, which was the look that I was going for. I also added like a little bit of pink goo ooze to the passenger seat. After that, I just started applying this texture all the way around the actual hog itself, and then at the end, I dab it with a napkin to really give it that kind of weird textured look. After that, I finished it up with a wash. Alright guys, here is the flood hog, and this thing turned out disgusting, nasty, looks like the flood took it over, so I think it's an overall success. I mean, I'm super happy with how it turned out. The marine looks cool, both of them. On this side, it's supposed to just be like they're kind of creating biomass, that's why all these tendrils are kind of coming out from this side, and basically they're just kind of collecting whatever they kill and they throw it in the passenger seat, and they're just kind of building up their flood Warthog as they kind of go along. I thought this was a really cool project. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this project. I actually learned a lot when I was making this about different washes and about the tires. I thought that was kind of a cool trick to kind of make them look like they've been running over flood, like they're in like the flood base, and that's how they get in and out, and they've been like, I don't know, the overall thing I'm very, very happy with. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Really helps me out a ton when it comes to making this kind of content. Also share if you do feel generous. Let me know in the comments down below what I should be making next, if it should be custom figures, if it should be another vehicle. Just let me know down below. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in, appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.